Hey, we
Here.
are back. So Madison, what I want you to do for next week is in the beginning there, right at the end, I want you to have an announcer come on and say, I'm backed by popular demand. Dan and Madison, Super Ambassadors Live, something like that. But the other
Okay.
funny thing was from last week, we started off the show and I mentioned Joe Satriani's album, Surfing with the Alien from the early 90s. And the next day I was on a call with Ben Moot, and he's referring to AI as being an alien. And I was just like, well, see, there you go. Fits together perfectly. We are now surfing with the alien when we are using AI.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to do today. Do you want to tell them what we're going to do today, Madison? Because I don't know.
So if you've been around the ClickFunnels group for a time or two, maybe you saw we used to do these things called funnel races, and we did them every once in a while on Fridays. And I said, we were talking about AI. We're on a little ambassador's call, and James says, I'm going to tell everybody about the Pages API. And I was like, oh, James, you want to join the call? And I was like, then we need to do a funnel race. And then Dan's like, we need Malia on it too. So that's what we're going to do today is how fast can we build a funnel? And if you've watched any of the previous funnel races, it would be an hour and we would be sweating to try to get that funnel done. Well, now the game has changed.
And it wasn't the best television. It's the most exciting thing in the world to watch people struggle to drag and drop. So this.
The way we figured it worked out is Danny would be like emceeing the whole thing, and then at the end he'd like whip out this funnel that clearly took him 3 weeks to build, and he'd go, "Oh, I just built this in the last 30 minutes while I was talking the entire time," and we're like, "Right, okay."
Remember Matt Pete had prepared his graphics. He had his because we had to do graphics too, like photos and image, all of it. And Matt had his concept. It was like a cartoon drawing thing. It was like actually going to launch that funnel. And yeah.
So today we are going to really, really cheat. And that is we're going to use various different AIs in order to build a funnel. And I wanted to have a couple more people on here to show other various ways. Now, one of the things we are not going to do, we're not going to go into ChatGPT and we're not going to say, okay, ChatGPT, build me this landing page, let's say, and then have ChatGPT give it back to you in HTML code, which you are then going to try to paste into your ClickFunnels account into an HTML JavaScript box. Because why aren't we going to do that? Because it doesn't work. So please stop doing that. It doesn't work. Reason why it doesn't work is because you don't have buttons in there. You don't have input forms in there. You don't have checkout forms in there. You don't have you don't really have any of the ClickFunnels elements in there. So today, how this is going to end up working is everything is going to be built natively into ClickFunnels using the ClickFunnels elements. And that's really key here is to do that. Then if you want to spice things up, do a few animations, whatnot, that's when you talk to AI. And maybe next week I'll show a really super cool trick that I've been using to work with ClickFunnels, because part of the problem is most AI doesn't know how ClickFunnels works. And so you either have to train it on it or you have to show it the source code. Well, there's a really simple way to show it the source code that I figured out a couple weeks ago, which maybe next week we'll talk about that too, but maybe not. Maybe I'll never give away that secret. But either way, what we're going to do here is James has to leave at the bottom of the hour. So we're all going to jump into our various tools that we're using. I think, James, why don't you get ready to share your screen? And we're going to jump into the various tools. We're all going to create our own version of an opt-in page. So all we're going to do is be basically collecting name and email address. So we're all going to create that using our different ways of doing it. And then while this is going on, because we know the AI just sits there and kind of spins for a while, during that process, we're going to have James show us what he's doing so that when he has to bounce, he's already taken care of showing us what's going on. And so is that okay with everybody?
Sure. Let's come up with a lead magnet name or something so that we can have some consistency. What should we be getting opt-ins for?
Well, let's call it the AI Secrets Challenge. How's that sound?
All right.
Okay. Why not?
Survival Guide. AI Secrets Challenge Survival Guide.
There you go. Survival Guide.
Survival Guide. There you go. All right. So the AI Secrets Challenge Survival Guide. Okay. Sneakers challenge survival. Okay, I'm writing that down because I'm so old I won't remember it otherwise. Okay, so now we are going to all jump into our various tools, and like I said, James, whenever you're ready, you can share your page, and we will get going here.
I should be sharing. So
all right, fired up.
Okay. Hey, friend. We're going to be creating a opt-in page for a Lead Magnet called the AI Secrets Challenge Survival Guide. It's going to include all the behind the scenes from someone who has gone through the challenge and created an application as a result. We're going to want an eyebrow at the top that calls out who the audience is. We want this is all direct response copy. We want a really curiosity-inducing headline at the top, a sub-headline. I want an image of the lead magnet on the left, so some sort of like PDF guide, mock-up image. And then on the right, some bullets, name, email, button, and footer at the bottom with a fake terms of service and privacy policy. I want you to generate that in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in a single index.html file. Then we will ship it to ClickFunnels afterward. Sound good? Do you have any questions?
So for those that weren't sure what James is doing, he's using the fun button, which I'm assuming you're using Whisperflow, or did you use the native voice to text in Claude?
That's Whisperflow.
Fun button, yes.
Which I have found, in case anybody's wondering, that the actual native button inside of Marketing Secrets AI works really well. But you are in their Claude, I guess. Okay. Which I definitely know that ChatGPT doesn't work very well. There's like a lag to it. I don't know if I've really ever used Claude directly.
I like ChatGPT's speech to text better than Claude, although Claude has gotten better in recent months. It used to be pretty bad. But this Whisperflow thing, someone clued me into it, and I was on the free plan for a while. Then I got to the point where I'm like, it's worth $15 a month. I'm just going to go for it. And I talk way more than I type, and I'm pretty good at typing, but I just don't do it anymore.
I had to put up a light so like my family knows when I'm talking to them or when I'm talking to my computer. So my light goes red when I'm talking to my computer because they're like, "What? What are you?" I'm like, "Not talking to you. I'm talking to my computer."
Okay, so if you can still see my screen, the LLM has finished, and I've got some stuff, and it, I didn't give it any hints as far as like design or anything like that. It just came up with this, and it's simple enough that I think that this should work. So now we have something that is a static HTML file that helps no one. It can't capture any leads. It can't be seen by anyone except for anyone who's in my house. It's useless to me. The magic is going to be when we take this and get it into ClickFunnels, and that has been harder before, and now it's a lot easier. Just this week, I think it was Tuesday, the Pages API in ClickFunnels was promoted to general availability. It was a beta-only feature. There's one step that you have to know before this, and I'll kind of stop sharing my screen when I do this. But essentially, I have to go into ClickFunnels and get an API key and a workspace ID and send that in. But once you do that, then you can just copy and paste this entire page like that, or give it the URL, and then it'll figure out how to get the thing that you made into ClickFunnels. And the really super fancy, cool key to this whole thing is this page markup skill. This is something that ClickFunnels has provided, and it is a skill for taking regular HTML stuff and converting it into native ClickFunnels elements. So this is the Rosetta Stone. This is the translator. This is the thing that takes normal stuff that doesn't have anything to do with ClickFunnels and turns it into native ClickFunnels elements. So I'm going to stop sharing, go get some secrets, plug it into Claude, and then let you know when we're back.
So obviously the key to this is you do have to have an API key. Now that is just, you also have to have some other things you're going to need to know. You're also going to need to know your team workspace and your workspace ID, which those can all be found. There's a lot of documentation in it, but that can all be found through your URL at the top, which I believe it's best to start with.
Well, I was going to say the hardest part of this that I found yesterday was, first off, getting going into your team, then getting into the API instructions, and then finding the page builder for the API, the create page endpoint. And then you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom, open up something, go down to the bottom, find this itty bitty teeny tiny link down there. And then that's the link where it has that file that James was showing you. So yeah. So I actually shot a video yesterday showing how to go find that file, and then how to take that file and turn it into a skill inside of Claude. But you could turn that into a skill in any AI.
So you're just going to go to developer.myclickfunnels.com. I just saved this as a bookmark for me. And under the API, what you really need to kind of start with is this list teams. And this is going to give you your team ID right here. And from here, you can then go through and grab your workspaces. So like, for example, we take this ID right here. And now when we go to our workspaces, we're going to paste that in, and that will give us all of our workspace IDs. And then when we come down here and specifically, I'm just going to duplicate this tab. When we come down here to get the page and create page, which is both what James and I are doing, just kind of some different ways, you're going to need to pass in that workspace ID. And so, for example, just say like this. And then this will create basically the request that you need. Of course, you're going to need to add in your API token, which you're going to get that in your teams, in your workspace settings under developer. And Michael Barlow is on the edge of his office chair.
Oh my God. And there's one very important thing. There's a reason why James is not showing his screen right now. And that is because you don't want to show anybody that what they call inside of ClickFunnels a bearer token. Anywhere else you would normally call it an API key. Okay. You don't want to show that, because if somebody gets a hold of that, they can just do like a fetch command or something like that, go in to your account, and basically they could wipe out your entire database if they wanted to. They could build funnels in your account for you, and you might be nasty funnels that they're building. So you don't want anybody to ever see that key. So don't ever show it on if you're sharing your screen to somebody, don't ever have
change it if you do. Delete it
publicly
if you do.
Pop up. Yeah. Delete it, get a new one, you'll be just fine. And but if you get a new one, if you delete the old one, if you're using that old one somewhere else, then you're gonna have to go and change them too. So don't forget that.
And for example, here, this is a little more advanced than the MCP. If you've connected the MCP, it allows you to do more things. And as you can see, I can do all of these and call all of these endpoints inside of using the API. So blogs is a new one, which was only available through the MCP previously. I've always thought this one is funny. Create stores. You can or list stores.
You get a store. You get a store.
Well, yeah, because you only get one inside of your ClickFunnels account. So yeah.
But this is the beauty of Bullet Train, which is what this is built on. And Bullet Train basically exposes everything as an API. So that's why you have all of these opportunities that they didn't have to like go really in depth and build. But that's why it's like create store or list stores. We only have one store. So that's kind of, I've always thought is interesting. But you just play around with this. And like, for example, you put your token in, it will actually list out all the email addresses you have. You can't break anything here, but through this developers.myclickfunnels.com, you can see what you can access, and you'll see what information you can get. The get pulls stuff back from ClickFunnels, and the push or the post will push stuff to ClickFunnels. And James can probably explain them a lot better than I can.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to learn. The crazy thing is you kind of don't have to learn about what APIs are, really. You just point your LLM to the documentation and it figures it out. Yep. I have successfully gotten past the part of the screen where I would show a token. So I don't know if I'll
flip it back.
Well, what I find interesting that you just did here, James, is you hit that copy button up at the very top.
Yeah.
And so that copied the entire page, and then where did you then give that? Because I'm definitely not doing it that way.
Well, I have done that. I've done like a Command A in like I don't know. I was using one LLM and it was like, oh, this is a JavaScript based documentation and I can't figure it out. So I just copied and pasted the whole thing and it was fine. In this case, that copy button, I assume would copy the page contents, but I mean, it looked like it just copied the URL. I don't know if I didn't click it right, but so I just gave the URL to the LLM and it figured it out. And the first thing that it did was figure out the skill and went and downloaded the skill. And it got the current page markup. It found the page ID. So I created a funnel and created a blank page just to not have it figure any, have to do too much. And look at that, it's already done. So let's see how this looks. Boom. So it attempted to recreate the image with HTML. So that's kind of dorky, right? But these are real ClickFunnels elements. Like this is legit. And if I go back to here, which is the page that I created, and I just refresh, it was totally blank before. It's like pulling the finished turkey out of the oven. Here you go. These are native ClickFunnels elements. I can come in here, I can click on properties, I can go adjust anything. They will not be using the style guide, right? Because it doesn't know about the style guide. I don't know of a way, I haven't looked into that yet. But these are real elements, real buttons. I can, add a pop-up, do any of that stuff. And should also be pretty well done with the mobile optimization too, yeah. So boom, we went from nothing to, working opt-in funnel. No thank you page yet, but, within 10 minutes.
Well, now, okay, probably, okay, no, you did do it as a funnel step. So the documentation does say that if you don't put in a specific funnel ID, that it will create it as a landing page. And if it does create it as a landing page, I think in ClickFunnels, you could just move that into a funnel. I'm not really sure. Maybe not.
Yes, you can. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
In my experience, they've created, and this maybe is just, I checked the wrong box when I told Claude to do this, but it's created as a theme page. So James, has that been your experience as well? Or have you told it funnel page? Because my theme pages come with the header and the universal elements that are attached to my theme.
Interesting. No, I have always prescriptively said, you're going here, and I'll create the funnel, create the page, and I'll copy the URL, which is just the URL of the application. So it's like the ClickFunnels URL. It's not like the end result URL. And it is able to say like, okay, I can infer, or I can fire off API requests to go get the page ID and, the funnel ID from this slug, and it figures it out from there. I didn't want random stuff. I didn't want to have to go find anything. That's super interesting though, because I did test the blogs API endpoint last night and couldn't get it to do the wrapper with all this stuff. It was just like the guts, the meat. So maybe there's something I need to do there to get that to work.
Wait, I'm sorry. What weren't you able to do last night?
I used the blogs API. So I created a markdown file that was just the content of the blog post, just headlines and paragraphs.
Okay.
And I sent that up to the blog API and it worked perfectly. It accepted it, but it didn't have any of my menu and footer and the call out on the right column stuff. Like the surrounding template wasn't there, and I couldn't figure out how to associate the template with that kind of core.
Okay, so it created basically it works the same way as if you're creating lessons, whether you're creating blogs or lessons.
Yeah,
you have the middle part and then you have the template around it. Was it just that you did not associate it then with an actual template? Or
I didn't.
Better question, was it taking up just the space on the screen that it would normally take up if the template were around it?
Yeah. Well, you know how you can there's like a button that says like show full context and you kind of see the stuff around it, both in lessons and in blogs. It lets you do that.
Right.
That wasn't showing up. I think it's me. I just couldn't figure out how to find the template ID and associate it to the blog. So that's something that I'm looking forward to.
One thing I did this morning is I went in, because you said something about styles a minute ago, and pull your screen back up, one of you two that was inside of the API, because there are a bunch of additional things you can add in to the API as you're going along. So if you go to the create page, because that's what we're talking about.
And here is it is going to tell you what it needs, and kind of the other what else you can add into basically what your putting into ClickFunnels?
Okay, so one thing here, I noticed that it did not have style in here, but if you look in the left sidebar, you can get a list of your styles. So we know that the styles are in the API. So I put in a request this morning to the devs to add in the middle part there the ability to pick a style guide. But so when you're in this part here, what you do is up at the top, you put in your workspace ID.
Yep.
And then you can come down, and if Madison would scroll back up.
I was
there. Oh, you
I
went
was
to
just
up.
looking to see if update page allowed you to have your style guide with it. But no.
No, I don't think any of them probably do. If one didn't, probably the other. But scroll down on here. As
What do you want me to show again, Dan?
Okay, so right, where do you put in the workspace? Okay, so right there, you put in your workspace ID. So that's your main workspace, not your team ID, anything. So your workspace of whatever workspace you're working in.
Yep.
And then if you scroll down a little bit further, then you already opened up there where it says body params. She clicked on where it says pages and objects. Okay. The name is required. So that's going to be the name of your funnel page or the landing page, depending on where you send this to. You can put in a path. You can pick the theme you want it to go to. If you don't pick a theme, it'll use the default theme for that workspace. You can put in your description, your SEO title, your description. I tested all this yesterday. It works just fine. Whether you want it indexed or not, if you keep scrolling down, there you can put in the funnel. So if you click on funnel object, you can put in the name of the funnel you want right there. So you get your funnel ID, which there's got to be an easier way to get it than using the API, which I had to use the API yesterday to find the one I was looking for. But I'm going to figure out an easier way to get that ID. I think we can just pull it straight out of the code in your back office. But what I did then, if you go over to the right, Madison, where you got your curl request, and you scroll up above that, and click the three dots in the upper right to change that to JSON, or JavaScript, I mean. Okay, so now as you put in your workspace ID and all the other information we just talked about, as you put all that in, it builds out this fetch request. Yep. Then all you have to do is copy the fetch request, put that into the AI, and tell it, here's your fetch request. So because it includes your bearer token and includes all the rest of the information you need, and that alone, especially if somebody got a hold of that alone would be enough that they could break into your account and do whatever they wanted to it.
Rotate that key.
Yeah. But that's how I did it. So when I saw James before click copy at the top, I'm like going, okay, I didn't try that one, but this is what I was doing because this is the way I always knew to do it. And
it's crazy how good they are at inferring. I mean, they are inference engines, right?
Yep.
They just kind of figured out. And if they don't have something, they'll tell you what they need. Sometimes in that fancy little control thing where it's like, give me the workspace ID, and it's a little text box. You paste it in. Give me this. It's pretty fancy. I'd like to share a screen one more time because I want to show something that happens. This is true for every one of these experiences that I've had. There is a translation that happens. So this is like plain vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and anything that's, you can dream it, you can build it here. Getting this to translate over to ClickFunnels isn't always a perfect experience. So you can see this is the result. So if I look at, inspo and actuality, what I will often do is go here to the URL and then tell it, hey, can you check this out and see what the delta is between what the intent was and where we ended up? I feel like there's probably some opportunities to clean things up. I'm not seeing the logo at the top. The bullets look different. If we need to, do you think you could create some images? That would be pretty sweet. So I just let it know to go. Now it's going to open a browser or make a straight HTTP request to the actual page. And then it'll be like, oh, okay, I see. What it really wants is this. And you can through iteration, get progressively closer to the intent just by trying a couple times.
And I just say, this doesn't look like the screenshot I gave you.
Yeah.
That's what I tell it.
Yep. And that's great. Maybe that even work better. My theory is like if it can see the resultant HTML code and parse it versus what it had as the source document, then it can kind of diff the two and have a better idea of what it needs to do to get closer to reality.
And Michael Barlow says, how is this better than Funnelwind?
It's essentially the same thing. It's just that I think the biggest difference is with Funnelwind, at least in my experience, once you got it in there, it was locked. There was no like back and forth. Whereas with this, I did a demo for my group yesterday, and I generated one, and then from Claude Code said, okay, now make it. My daughter's 13 and loves pink and pretty stuff, so make it as pink and pretty and whatever. And it took that same content, rounded all the corners and all the text boxes and buttons. It generated some kind of image from somewhere that was this candy thing, and then it shot it up there. And it was a really vivid example of you can edit the page in place and have multiple iterations. So and it can also bring designs down. So it's like a bidirectional communication that happens through this mechanism that's more flexible.
Yeah, when you're using Funnelwind, you can change it after the fact, but you got to go in, reprompt it. You go, okay, so I got this,
Yes.
and then you go, okay, well, also add in this and this and this. Put that all in, change it to pink, round the corners. Then it'll spit out all new code again for you, and so it doesn't change kind of changes the code, but not really. I mean, it's not like doing an update through the API where it would take what was existing and then change it. So then you have to copy and paste it back in and the whole thing. So again, on for yours, James, just give us a rundown again, like kind of step by step what you did before you got to bounce out of here. And then
so you saw me. I just spoke it into existence using the fun button and had the static HTML file, and that's really key. And I'm using Claude Code because it's really good at writing files and making API requests.
Okay, so hang on here. So it generated for you an HTML file, which you then copied into Claude. Is that correct?
No. So I started in Claude Code, and it already has abilities to write to the file system, and it knows how to make API requests. So it's more Swiss Army knife than regular Claude. But I was going to say, if you just had Claude or ChatGPT, those things can generate the HTML files for you, and you can download them, and you don't have to touch any weird developer thingy. You will if you want to do my way for how to get it up there, but that first HTML step can be done with just a regular chat tool.
And Claude Code is more than just writing code now. It really is an agent that can go out, read the internet, connect with different tools. A lot of people are actually saying that Claude Code has surpassed OpenClaw in a lot of different ways with kind of some of the advances in 4.7. So just something
lots of connectors, lots of abilities to get tools and access to things. It's really awesome. So yeah.
And we purposely scared everybody.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we purposely scared everybody earlier about that bearer token. And so when you copied that page and you popped it into Claude Code, the bearer token went with it. But because it's in a private chat that you're having with Claude Code, you shouldn't ever be concerned about that getting out into the wild. Just make sure it doesn't end up in the HTML on the live page.
That's right. And, I find that when it comes to secrets, just in general, with LLMs, if you just tell it, hey, make sure that this doesn't get included in Git, make sure that, we're excluding these things. It's pretty good at remembering that. Not always true. Lots of people have submitted their secrets and everything into their public repos on GitHub. Like there's a whole pandemic of bad stuff out there, but if you're smart,
GitHub is a whole other show. We can come back someday when we are going to talk about GitHubs and version control and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. But essentially that was it. We generated the HTML. We pointed the LLM at the documentation. The documentation includes the translation instructions. It translates it into code that ClickFunnels can understand. It sends it up to ClickFunnels. We refresh our page. Voila.
And there's something that he said right there that I didn't think of until Madison mentioned it to me yesterday, which was to link directly to the instruction page. And the reason why to do that is because if ClickFunnels ever comes along and changes that instruction page, if you had downloaded that and was using it as a skill or put it in as an instruction file, you'd have to know when ClickFunnels changed it, which you won't, and you'd have to go in and update it. If you just, hopefully they'll never change the link, but you'll figure that out real fast when your page doesn't come even close to looking right. So just grab the link off that page.
And one thing it's a little bit of a detail, but it's relevant to what you just said. There is actually a sort of validation step that happens where it will check and see if what you're sending to the API is valid ClickFunnels code. It kind of adheres to the spec, and it'll reject it if it doesn't. So it's pretty smart. So they have thought about a lot of things. It's an incredible experience and an incredible time to be alive and doing this stuff.
Yeah. And one thing I found as I was doing it, it was struggling trying to do one way of connecting because it kept getting a 400 error. And then it's flipped over. I think it was trying to use Python to connect and it couldn't. And then it flipped over to using curl and then it worked just fine. So if you're working at this, running into that, I'm straighten me out if I'm wrong there, James. I'm pretty sure it was curl that worked.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just HTTP. You're sending strings of text over HTTP, and there's a million ways to do it. Curl is one of the oldest, most battle-tested, bulletproof pieces of software in existence. So, it probably had the file sitting there, and it just streamed it up and turned it into a, part of the HTTP post.
Yeah.
Well,
and again, that'll be for another show. We'll explain what HTTP means. So
yes,
we'll have James explain it.
So in 30 minutes, in under 30 minutes, realistically, probably closer to 25 to even 20 minutes, James had that built and all ready to go. Do you even remember the fastest that you would have built one of those in a funnel race previously?
Oh man. Well, I mean, I could get a lead funnel down in an hour, but I'd be sweating.
Yeah.
I
had my heart rate monitor go off on my Apple Watch. It said high heart rate warning. Yeah.
The nowadays you have all kinds of templates that you could look at, so you can go in there and you got 25 different templates you can choose from. Just copy one of those, paste it in there, modify it a little bit, and go, hey, I'm done. So everything has become easier over time with funnel building.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, Madison, do you want to go next and show us how you did it? Because you used.
We'll have Malia go, and then mine is still populating because I didn't quite get early enough start on it.
Okay.
And you were driving the visuals. I'm gonna go on another call now. Thank you all so much for having me. I'd love to come back and talk more apps and funnels and AI nerd stuff with you.
Okay, man. Take care.
Bye.
Cool. Yeah,
I didn't prepare all my documentation last night, Dan, and pretend like I'm just doing it now.
Well, I figured you'd have the whole thing done ahead of time. Had I got done instructing my bot more than 2 minutes before jumping on this call, I might have made one ahead of time too, but I didn't. So.
All right, we're firing up Malia's screen.
Yeah, so I've been prepping and it's not working for me right now. But the first question I asked is, what do you need me to answer to prep for you to build me the page? So this is what I got so far. So I got a text file here. So I asked a few times about you really have to prompt this thing. I should explain what I'm using. I'm using the built-in ClickFunnels AI. So if you're in the new user interface with ClickFunnels 2.0, it's this button right here that pulls up the left sidebar, not the right one. So the right one is for copywriting, and the left one is actually supposed to be building for us. Supposed to be is the word. And so I asked it a bunch of questions about how can I best prompt it, and I put it all into a text file. So again, I would have used Whisperflow to answer all this, but I just managed. Actually, while James was talking, I even turned Whisperflow on just to kind of steal the same prompt, so we're all prompting something similar. And then I answered the questions it told me to provide to them. Pasted it all here, and it says, perfect, I got everything I need. Gave me this random code. I'm like, why are you giving me a code? It's supposed to put it in here, at least from my past experience. It was building the elements before. And then I'm asking it questions in it, and what it says, I'm going to refresh just to see. And it's telling me to do different approaches. So work directly through the editor's native tools to build this page properly. Can you tell me when you open the page editor for AI Secrets Challenges, do you see a blank page? So let's just see if this is going to work. All I did, it did give me a piece of code to copy, and it said to upload it into, where'd it go? It says, here's a complete markup. To put this in, copy into your page editor. And I was like, I don't think I'm using Barnum PT. Not everybody has Barnum PT. Like, I could take that and do the HTML import. That's not the purpose of this.
Well,
So,
I don't think that would work. Even show me it again. Is that
yeah,
supposed
it's
to?
not very long.
Well, hang on. Quit moving the screen so I can look at it.
gonna
That's not properly formatted for Barnum.
No. So
That's actually normal. That's actually normal code.
Yep. And it says paste into your page editor. So I'm like, that gives no context as to where that is. So I asked it. And it says what I was trying to do was use their built-in markup syntax for pages. So I'm just like, that just makes anybody lost, like coming through to try to do this. And then it asked me, am I using these questions so it could help me? So I said blank page. Now it says, let me build this for you directly using the editor. Yeah, that's what I wanted the first time. Okay, what I recommend, delete this and I'll create a brand new one, or open the page editor directly and manually start adding elements. Okay, no, I'm going to say delete. Option A, I'm going to say option A.
Well, yeah, I would say just tell it, no, I want you just to build this directly into the ClickFunnels page for me.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, AI is not at the point where it is fully augmented intelligence. Like, we still have to direct this ship. I mean, I'm thinking about my life with AI more as I am the orchestrator.
Mm-hmm.
Or I am the coach, and I'm going to tell you, you're going to throw, a fastball, or you're going to steal, you're going to do this, and this, whatever analogy fits for you. That's what you are. And I think that was the beauty of what was shown in the AI Secrets Challenge, is just how you can leverage either Marketing Secrets AI or building your own thing in Claude Code, where you can become the CEO, the orchestrator. I mean, there's even people who have built open source, but you hire AI employees, and then you allot how much token usage do you pay that employee to do dev work or HR, different things like that. And that's the shift you need to have, is how can you, like we talked about last night in our implementation calls we're doing for our affiliates, the three of us, is Malia's like, how can I shave 3 hours off of a project? And we're like, oh, Marketing Secrets, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, that's it. There's 3 hours that I have back with my family. And that's the shift. So use AI. It's like almost Russell says, you pay with time or you pay with money. You're now either going to pay with tokens to make things faster or tokens to make you more money. Like, that's the way I think about it, is how can AI produce offers faster to make me more money, or utilize things that are just sitting on my hard drive to make me money, instead of, or vice versa, time saved by doing the tasks that I would normally do, like building multiple apps or figuring out errors.
Yeah. And I was exactly right. And also, just so we know, those things did not work. And I started this prompting inside of an existing page I started. When I backed out, I noticed there was other steps that it created. So I'm trying to test right now to see if it's better to just do it from the funnel step.
Well, actually, try this. Go all the way back out to your main screen, because you can also start it from there.
Okay, let's do that.
At least I'm pretty sure you can.
We could try it. So yeah, no,
not there. Just click on the ClickFunnels button there at the top. Click on where it says ClickFunnels at the top. The home. Sometimes. Okay, right there, you should, if you click on labs in the top right, ClickFunnels AI will research your market and design a custom funnel in minutes. All right, put your prompt in there.
All right, same prompt, everything. Okay, and it said research on that one. I could have done swapped it to quick, but yeah, this is something I've never tested right here. Yeah, I have used that other built-in thing that shows up on the left-hand side to arrange stuff on the page. It works okay. I notice it works when things are already in there. So building stuff from scratch, that's what we're testing today. And that, just so that everyone knows, I started at exactly 11:12, like messing with it. So we're still like 20 minutes in or so.
Still with nothing. 30
With
minutes
nothing.
later.
Yeah. Then again, this is like as if I normally would do this with something else. So this is, if there's a regular ClickFunnels user who's never used this before, this is what this would look like. So,
Now,
yeah.
to go back to one very important point that Madison was talking about is we are the ones that direct the AI.
Mhm.
And everything is all about creating instructions. So if you're building yourself a GPT in ChatGPT, it's about building an instruction file or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and then maybe giving us some other additional information. Same thing with a skill, whether it's in Claude or marketing AI. I don't know. I would guess ChatGPT is something similar. It's an instruction file. You get into marketing secrets. It's all about instruction files. So that's what we have to think in terms of. People think, oh, I'm just going to give it a prompt. No, you got to give it very, very in-depth instructions on how to do most of this stuff to get a good result.
Yeah, and the best way to get that is by asking whichever AI you're using is, what do you need for me to create it? And that's the first step I did. And I spent probably 5-10 minutes on this, you know?
Yeah, have the AI help you build out that instruction file. And just tell it, I'm building out an instruction file because I want a skill. I'm building a skill. I need an instruction file for it. Can you help me? Yes. And they'll probably start asking you questions.
I'm doing double down now. I have one. Okay. I did it from here. I'm also letting this guy work. Okay. On another page. So
fortunately, doing market insights, so that might take a while.
But look how fast it made those 2 pages for me just there. So if you do it inside of here, so this was 11:44. We'll say I put in this prompt from the funnel view, not from the page view. It made these 2 pages instantly. And so I give it credit there. Now it's actually building the sections in the page. So this will tell us like, where's the best place to use the AI.
Okay. So this time here, you started from the funnel tab.
Correct. I started over, I deleted all the steps and I gave it the prompt. Let's see. I gave it this. I said, okay, inside this funnel, it's trying to scroll down on me. Inside this funnel I am in right now, I removed all the steps. Let's start from scratch and build a 2-page opt-in funnel, pasted in the original prompt I gave it, and it's working right now. So that's good news. Let's see what it comes out with. So 11, kind of right when it turned 11:44 is when I put that in. So we'll see how long this takes. But I want to check on this one while that's running. It says error occurred. Please try again. So I don't know how well this is working. Something else we could do. If I go back, there's research and then there's quick. So I think we'll try this one on.
Yeah, definitely do the quick. Yeah. We don't need any research.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is going to create a brand new funnel.
Okay, and that was again from the front page. Okay, so this is all right. So this is moving fast now too. So the research is what hung us up there.
Yep, on at least coming from the front page. And again, is this different? This is the same AI. Okay, so this is one where I started a funnel already, had no steps on this page on the right here, had no steps. I just pasted it in from the funnel where we can see all the steps. This other one, I did it from the home page. And no funnel was created. So it can start a funnel and build the pages for you, which is kind of cool.
If you go back to the other tab, it said that the thank you page was done at the bottom.
This one right here? Yeah. Okay. So this one says thank you is done. So we could preview.
Let's see what's on there.
Okay.
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
Okay. Did it have movement there? That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that was animated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the question is that a built-in animation? Hopefully not that it did it with CSS, because that animation is built in.
It's moving. Okay, they're both done. Let's check this one out. Again, this one I'm looking at. I started the funnel, gave the prompt on the bird's eye view of the funnel. Okay, so we'll look at the elements on each of these. I'll probably close that down for a second just so we can have a, well, yeah, we'll see. Preview funnel pages. What does that button do? Oh, that brings up our previewer. That's cool. That's my cookies thing. This is a cool way that I see a lot of funnel builders doing like their portfolio and stuff. They send this link to people. It's cool. Let's actually click this. So here's what it made for me. And that doesn't look bad. Cool. Now I want to test and see if it actually uses the native stuff. Okay, the buttons work. They scroll up. And let's actually go out of this preview mode. This is native. Now this is what I wanted to test. I don't think it's doing, yeah, it overrided my style guide. That was the only thing I'd like it to use is the style guide that it created for me. So it didn't quite do that, but it did make the elements native. It's not coded. So let me close that on the left. There we go. We can make this bigger. So all this is definitely native inside of ClickFunnels. Was it how I would build it manually? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Yeah, it's definitely, everything is overridden still. I'd like to see how this one's going. Coming from the dashboard funnel, AI funnel generator, it looks like it only made the first page. And it's asking more questions. That's interesting. So I did the same prompt on both, but one was from the ClickFunnels, like a funnel was already made. The other one is from the home. The one from the home seems to not have the context it needed. But let's see what it built. Oh, it's a different design. Hold on, let's preview both of these. So this is the first one. Okay, it did not generate images. So that's something else we can note. Won't generate images for you, apparently. And then this is the other one. That one did generate an image. Okay.
So it generated an image.
It generated one image.
Yeah.
And I didn't get context for images. So maybe if I did, it would.
Well, as I was working on some other stuff yesterday, it did say that there is a built-in image generator inside of ClickFunnels now.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't tell me what LLM is running on though.
Yep. And let's go to page 2 real quick. And then I'm sure this is the one that I, again, built from the funnel that was already made. The style guide changed there. So it's using enter as I instructed on this page. It wasn't on the first, which is funny. And I'm sure I could pull up the same AI on the left and say like if I go back, let me go back to the first page real quick because that one had some fonts that were off. And I could give it some instruction saying, make sure all fonts are enter. Set to enter. Just to see like, it can, one thing that's cool about this is it could edit for you. So that could be a handy tool. But again, I think it built the funnel in like 3 or 4 minutes tops from the ClickFunnels view. Once we figured out how, the first thing you had to do was figure out how to prompt it by asking it. And then it took me probably 5, if I had Whisperflow on, I wasn't using that. I was typing everything manually. It probably would have taken like less than 5 minutes if I was using Whisperflow. So budget like 5-10 minutes of prompting, then paste that all in. And I would say you would have a funnel in 10 minutes using ClickFunnels AI.
The other thing is, the more often you use tools like this, the more you go, okay, and I have to remember to tell it this, and I have to remember to tell it this, and I have to, so that all gets built in. That's why, again, it's nice to build out like an instruction set. So even using something like this, you can create yourself a little guide, which tells you, okay, these are the 15 things that I got to make sure I have in my prompt. And if you keep that, you change a few things on there, you drop it in, and it gives you what you want.
And also, oh, go ahead, Madison.
And that's why I create skills. So, Malia, finish your thought, and then I'll take that in.
I said, make sure all the fonts are set to enter, and it did it. It took a second for it to show in here, but once I clicked the save button and previewed, it will edit your funnel for you. It looks like it just overrides everything that has to do with the style guide. So if that doesn't bother anybody, then that's cool. but for me, I like the style guide. But yeah, go ahead, Madison.
So what I did is I went, let me make sure I got all my windows lined up here for what I want. Okay. So what I started with, I'm going to remove Malia's screen and put mine on, is I used Marketing Secrets AI Coach Russell. And so what I told him is I said, I want to build a product to promote AI Secrets Challenge, call it AI Secrets Challenge Survival Guide. Can you write amazing copy to get me leads? And that's all I fed it. It said, yeah, I love the idea, blah, 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 blah. Here is your copy. Now, at the same time, I went over here to Higgsfield and I said, this is the image that I want. Russell Brunson as a robot, like in battle tested. And the cool thing of things, like it says Brunson, it's like AI ops. And so I brought that over here to Cursor. I would normally use Claude Code, but since James, we wanted to give everybody kind of a wide range. I went through here and I said, here's the copy that I want. Ultimately went through, used the Funnel Hacker Brain, which is a little thing we have access to if you're an FBCC member. So it would kind of get the framework of what a lead funnel should look like. And then
Wait, are we supposed to believe you did all of this since 52 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
I downloaded the image at 11:24.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just checking.
And I don't even have like the skill that I have created is actually to create advertorials. So I don't even have like a page builder skill done yet. So I said, here's my branding. Can you make this a CF page to match? It came down here. It delivered this. But what it did, let me get over to here, is it plopped in the custom HTML like this. So I had to say, no, that's not what I want. And I remembered I didn't give it the markdown file that is in the create page, which is this little button down here. The little hidden thing from Dan, right?
You know, only a dev guy could think that that's a good place to put that link. You know, oh, well, everybody should know it's there.
We got to give props to Winter, who like on Funnelwind did put like the how it works as a big button. So
it works.
Yeah.
props to that, right? And so then I told it which workspace I wanted it to go to. It spit it out. I had to kind of talk back and forth to it a little bit. But then it came through here. Get to the right tab. And this is what it created. So it actually created me a different image, which is interesting. And these are all native ClickFunnels elements now that I told it to use the page markdown and then the opt-in here. But I didn't tell it to create a second page. I just created one page in under 20 minutes from when I downloaded the image. And remember, I had to go back and say, no, you need to use Cruel. You need to utilize the markdown file. It's impressive.
So, but this was using Cursor, but you were going through the API.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we have proven now without a doubt that if you don't put in that markdown example file, or actually it's markdown training file, really, if you don't put that in there, it just gives you. So what did that page look like where it was just the JavaScript HTML box?
Oh, good question. That's why I saved it. So I didn't want to.
It basically got the same thing.
No, it
Okay.
was, hold on. I had it open still. It was slightly different. It was this one. So it actually did use my Russell photo. And kind of.
Yeah, I'd be curious to throw those two side by side and see what the differences are, because it created an HTML file and then it supposedly took that HTML file, applied the what they call a PML, I think is what they call that, and changed it. But it looks like it's probably got the same words. We got the grab, we got the look. Okay, it's just organized differently, and obviously, like these aren't ClickFunnels elements. So when I hit, download the guide, it's not going to go into my ClickFunnels CRM. Okay. So it sees the limitations in the ClickFunnels markdown is given, and builds it that way. I mean, makes sense.
I actually like the look of this of that differently. Again, I hope it didn't.
You like the look of that better?
I like the look of this. I like the look of the second one better.
Okay, this is the first one. That was the first one you were showing us.
Oh no, sorry. I like the look of the first one with some of the elements. My displays are just doing crazy stuff, so just hang with me here. But yeah, I like the just kind of some of the different colors it made, some of the different shadows and in borders on it. I like that better, but it's still very impressive in what it did.
Well, you could have it if that's so. You could have it download for you, tell it to give you the raw HTML to begin with, and then build the page with the other, and then you could just drop it into that HTML box, and then boom, look at them side by each and see which one you like better.
Yeah, and I could say, hey, I like this of the HTML and put that in there. But Dan, we've been waiting here. You said we were going to wet our pants, so.
Well, there's only 3 minutes left, so I really can't show you what I did. But I will show everyone the results I got. And then maybe next week, I'll show you how I did it. Because that'll give me time to fix a couple of issues in my training that I did. So let me do this. See how I timed this out perfectly? So share the screen. Typical man.
You're mastering the Danny part of this. Coming
there we go.
Again.
Okay, so what we have here is a failure to communicate. No, this is the very first output that I got. And it was actually relatively okay. And this was just with a very simple prompt, essentially. I got this right here. I was mostly just testing.
You were using Claude Code, correct?
No.
Or what were you using to do this?
I'm not going to tell you. Oh. That's the top secret part until next week.
Okay.
Because no one has ever done this before. And I'll explain to you guys in 2 minutes how I did it, and then you'll go, oh, and then you'll pee your pants. But
so here's off the call, Malia. After we end, that's the
yeah. Don't leave. So here we got. This was the very first attempt. Okay, that's pretty good. Like I said, here. Okay, I didn't like this one quite as much, but this was the second go at it. And these were, in this case here, I put them into a funnel itself. So I went into the API and I put in there exactly which funnel ID I wanted to go into. Then I copied the fetch request, dumped that into the AI and said, build this thing for me. And so here was the second result. And again, very little prompting on it. So then I started getting a little bit more serious about the prompting. And this was, let me see here. That was the one for this morning. Was that it? Actually, I think, yeah. So this was my third attempt. And I didn't like the images and I didn't like how the images were being created. And so, but otherwise, looks pretty good. I mean, it obviously needs some work. All native elements. It did use, maybe it's not on this page here. It was using Flex, and I told it in the later instructions, don't use Flex unless there's absolutely no other way of doing it. But, it's got some decent bones here. And then here was my next attempt. This was last night. And now I have massively modified the instructions since last night. But here is the next one. And it is generating all of these images on its own. Okay. But it's using Flex and stuff like that. And one thing as I'm looking at this going, I can't even read that text. So that's not ADA compliant. We got a custom JavaScript box here. I don't even know what's in there. Let's take a look at the live page there. See what's in there. So wait a second. Where was that?
Just some text.
No, so the entire headline here. Oh, I know why. Because I asked it to give me a headline with a gradient on it, which it would not need to do that as a custom JavaScript HTML box. But there's probably just a bunch of CSS in here.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and that was actually one of Michael's comments earlier. He says, "You feel like the shiny gradients is going to be the M dash of AI web pages."
The shiny gradients.
Yep, like on buttons and stuff.
I always use Gradient though. That's like
Oh no! Now you just shamed her. Now I know. Yeah. So here it's doing a spam down here. Instead of what it can do is just put that text into a text element and then apply this CSS to it. But it may not know how to do that, and it may not be able to do that. So we don't know how far the API can go. Can the API write code directly into the code editor? So can it write it directly into here? And it may not be able to.
I think Funnelwind can, so I would imagine that it can as well.
Yeah, and maybe that's just adding something to the prompt that so just more specific instructions. Like I said, I was working on the instructions up until the very end here, but then so here was the most recent one I did for this show today. And again, I just slapped together the prompt as quickly as I could. Now, one thing I did tell it, I said, give me a black header across the top with a logo in it, which it could not figure out how to do that. But I was typing it in so fast, who knows what I actually typed in. So I'll show you what that looks like. Come on. Yeah, let me just reload the page. Reload. We'll get there. Well, y'all saw it already for a second.
While that loads, I was gonna say about the one that I tested today is like what just before we hop off here is that it took me a minute to figure out how to prompt it and where to prompt it. But once I had that, I would say it was really fast. But the only con about using the AI, the ClickFunnels AI, is it won't remember anything after you prompt it. So that's the thing that you have to weigh. So you have to save everything that you would ever prompt it. But it will remember. Yeah. So yeah.
So here was the latest version then, and so again, okay, nothing good, nothing great. I didn't, like I said, I told it to give me a header up here at the top. It didn't do it. Didn't give me the logo that I asked for up here. So I still need to look. First, I need to go back and look at the prompt because my prompt may have been incoherent. And then also like here, because it's doing a gradient, it thinks it has to do the custom JavaScript box. And well, yeah, I guess it does have a gradient right there, which again, it does not need to do. So you could just do that with CSS directly right inside of ClickFunnels. So it does not have to do that. But wait a second here. Maybe there's something up here.
You have a flex. Yeah, you have a flex, and then you have.
I'm gonna kill this thing. I told it not to use flex. What is this here? Oh, it does say it's an image.
Yep.
And it says it's actually has an image URL here.
Let's see what
oh, there it is. There's my image. Because it did show me that image. I forgot. It did show me that image as it was building it. Because one of the things I put in here in the instructions is show me images and then let me approve them. Mm-hmm. Now, reality is building the images on the fly is probably not the best thing. You're probably better off going over to ChatGPT, using image 2, build the images there, and then put them in the page.
Field.
Yeah. You what?
Or Higgs field, where you can use both.
Oh, Higgs field. Higgs field costs money. You do ChatGPT. What?
And you want to make as many images as you want to make.
Well, all right. So there you go. That's it. And then next week, if I feel really generous, I will show you guys how it's done with a hopefully very good working model at that point. So that's what I got there for my final tease.
And vote in the comments who you think is the winner, and or whose funnel you like the best, or whose process worked the best.
I guess I'm representing ClickFunnels here. So it's not really what I would do, but it's what ClickFunnels AI editor would do.
What you got it to do at the end there when it actually worked,
yeah.
I think without a doubt that was the fastest.
That was really fast. I was impressed, but and I did tell the other one that did it from the dashboard, I was like, hey, you forgot a page and it fixed it. So it seems like if you are going to use a ClickFunnels AI, start the funnel, and then before you build any steps, just ask it what questions it needs to. Maybe we'll give them the prompt that I put in somewhere in the comments or something. That'd be good. Because it just told me to give as much context as possible on these subjects. Once I figured that out, and I pressed a button to send it in, it built it like instantly. You guys saw it populate. And I would say like in 5 minutes, it was done. To my standards, I don't, probably not, but to an average user, maybe. Yeah. So that's, and it did add the animation. If I told it to add images, I bet you it would have, because it did generate it on one step. So yeah, I think the more context you give it, the better. But the con is it won't remember this. It'll forget you every time you log into ClickFunnels. It won't, most likely it won't remember the context of what it's already built. So
well,
that's
then I would be curious then. So let's say you build the first section on the page, and you could even go in there and give it an attribute or something like that. But then say, okay, first section on the page, I want you give me a background with a gradient of, give us some colors. First off, it should be able to do it based upon what you've already done with the corrections. It should be able to do it. But what I would be curious to see, and we'll test this after we're off the call here and maybe talk about it next week, is does it have the ability to be able to put that into the code the way it should, or is it going to build it as a custom JavaScript HTML box?
So far, when I was in the editor, nothing was in the custom, but with and there are some sections here that already have gradient. I didn't even tell it to do it. It did put some custom backgrounds in the sections, and they're not coded. They are in the system one. So that's cool. Yeah. We'll explore this further.
I think that is it for today, Madison. Why don't we wrap this thing up and get out of here and get on with our days.
And we'll see everybody next week.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.